to the RunnerX podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running. Welcome back to the RunnerX podcast. I'm your host, Coach Caroline, and I'm here with Coach Valerie. Coach Valerie, we get a lot of comments on our social sometimes that say, well, why do I have to learn to run? Why can't I just get out there? You know, it should be natural, right? Can you talk about that?
Sure. So I know someone said to me, please don't take away the joy of my running. And what I think here's what started to happen. So with me, with RunRx, with us, we get, of course, people that are like, I want to improve in my running. The majority of you guys are injured or in a rut, stuck in, a running rut, injured, something doesn't feel right. And we hear it, I hear it all the time. And I got injured when I started running. So I know the challenge is that there became this like culture in running of the success was in the volume. The success became, did you get out today and just put one foot in front of the other? And the challenge is, I believe in you that you can do that. I know you can do that. I want to say to people, you know what? Instead of just saying, I'm going to get out there and just see what happens, why not take control of your movement first? You know what? Before I go out there and run, I'm going to work on my running and kind of learn what is running. And then when I go out to run, I'm going to work on my running practice until I'm running correctly. And it's like, if you were going to take a swim lesson and you never gone swimming, I wouldn't be like, just jump in there, see what happens.
Just flap your arms and legs and you'll get to the side.
Right. And then tomorrow you'll do a little better. And then the next day, you just keep hoping for the best.
Just do that every day.
And you know what? At some point you will get better because eventually it's sink or swim, right? So then you'll figure out a way to get across the pool and then it'll be a whole journey for you. However, why do that to yourself in running? Instead of saying to yourself, I'm just going, because I tell you guys, it's not, and again, it's like, it's funny because it's not about not feeling proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. You got up there, you got out there, you went for it. It's a big deal. Running is hard. What we want to say to you is we want you to be able to go out there with the confidence of, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know what it should feel like, because that way, when you go out, you have something to practice. And Caroline can speak to the fear you have that if it's not a mile of running, it's not running.
Yeah. That's one of the big things that we get a lot of times. People be like, well, the plan says, I have to do 3 miles or whatever plan I'm using. Or we have somebody right now that I thought it was really interesting that they're doing a getting out there every day and they're on a streak. And I totally get this idea of a streak, guys. I get it. It drives me a lot to get that check and not lose that check, right? To keep up on my streak. And they said, I need to do a minimum of a mile. And I thought, well, a mile is just 1,500 steps. Okay. So if you're doing band work, like you're on the band or you're doing your drill practice and you're just doing your driveway back and forth, you're still going to run 1,500 steps. You're still going to run a mile. It's just not on a road in a theoretical straight line. And I say theoretical because we all know not all roads are straight, right? Sometimes you go around the block. That is still a mile. We get so locked into this thought that a mile has to be like measured out in a certain way. When if you actually tell that to the track guys that go in a circle, right? Sometimes they go in a circle twice. Sometimes they go in a circle 4 times. It totally depends on the track. So why can't you run back and forth on your driveway and have that be a mile? Then you've done a mile.
Well, and the thing too, and we say the reason she's saying driveway is because that's usually where we tell people to set up. It doesn't matter. That's what she does on her driveway. Right. So please keep in mind that I have no trouble with someone going to a track or using their same run route. Stay on your run route. The idea that we try to tell you though, is that instead of thinking I have to do this straight mile or it has to be this volume.
I have nonstop, right?
Correct. That's
correct.
That's what we're trying to help you with, is that when you start to learn how to run and realize there's run practice, believe for every sport there's practice, including running, and that's where people kind of got lost. most people that play sports, guys, they practice way more than they play. They play
Yeah.
once a week and they practice every day. So running is very much the same. And once you start treating your run like I have my run practice, then all of a sudden your running becomes so much more than I just got through it, because you're like, of course I got through it because I know how to run.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's really important because when you start seeing too, running is more, well, a lot of people say it's my therapy, right? It's my alone
Yeah.
time, but it is a sport, just like swimming, just like biking, just like golf, right?
And
And
you need to
if you
pay
look at
attention.
yeah, and if you look at those sports that maybe you did or your kids do or your husband or spouse or significant other, whoever, look at how they handle those sports. You'll realize that when you start treating running correctly as a sport, then you'll drill and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to drill into my run and then I'm going to run. And at the end of the day, you're going to look at that watch that maybe you haven't been looking at for a while. And what you thought was, oh, I'm just going to go out for 3 miles. Oh my gosh, I ran 5 miles. I didn't
Right.
even realize because
Mhm.
the first 2 miles were drilling and it didn't feel hard at all. And oh my God, the 3 miles felt easy and lightweight. We get that all the time, guys.
We hear that all,
So,
y'all, seriously, we hear that all the time. And these are usually the people that come in with that mindset of what's going to happen if I don't run this volume? And we say, we promise you'll be all right. And then all of a sudden they're like, you're right. And I, and this
yeah.
is the best for us. It never gets old. Just so you know, it never
Mm-mm.
gets old to watch someone change their thought on running to that feeling of, I'm just going to get through it, to wow, I'm going to enjoy it.
And that being said, I'm going to bring up one last thing that I brought up to the group today because I'm all about mindset. And if you work with Valerie, it doesn't matter how you work with her. If you work with her via going on the lives and asking her questions, or you actually come in and work with us and you're on a Zoom with her, or you're like me and you get to train with her 2, 3 days a week whenever you want, she's going to say something. I'm going to guarantee you, you're going to be standing in your pose and she's going to say, bend your knees. Because I think she says that like
Right.
17 times at the Zoom. And you're going to be on, maybe you slept wrong. Maybe you had a fight with your husband, something like that. And you're going to think to yourself, and you're going to want to even say, I am bending my knees, Valerie. My knees are bent, right? You're going to get mad. And this happens with all coaches, right? And I guarantee you that if you just stop and double check, what I realize is that we get frustrated and we get upset, but your coach, in this case, Coach Valerie, isn't criticizing you. She's correcting you. And she's correcting you so that you don't have pain. She's not calling you out because there's anything wrong with you, because you're going to do something wrong, because you're a bad person. Those are thoughts. And you need to let go of that and just remember, oh, okay, bend a little bit more. I thought I was bending them, but maybe I need to be more bent. I need to be more springy. She's seeing something that I'm not perceiving yet. And that's why we work with her. That's why we follow her. That's why we ask her questions. That's why we hire her. So when you get frustrated, try to just like, don't let it block you out, is what I want to say. Is I have to
Well, I
sometimes
think,
stop myself.
I think the challenge, by the way, is that most people don't have running coaches. And
Yes.
so no one's ever watched me run. And it goes back to like the first time you ever saw a race picture and you were like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's what I look like. You know what I mean? It's just really interesting. And so, but people that do like strength training, for example, if you come to the gym to take a strength training class from me, they want me to watch them every second.
Yeah.
Right? The idea is you're going to come in the gym and I'm going to show you what to do and make sure you do it right. And if you do a group fitness class, the instructor is watching you the whole time and motivating you and giving you form cues. That's why you pay an instructor. That's why you want an instructor. Whereas with running, 99% of run coaches say to the runner, go run. And they only tell you, go run 3 miles or go run easy or go run slow or go run fast. Nothing about the how to. So I
Right.
completely understand that in the beginning, you're like, what do you mean, watch me run? Doesn't everyone know how to run? Isn't running natural? Because those
Well,
thoughts are in your head. And so Caroline's
totally.
right. People are like, I feel awkward. I feel uncomfortable. I don't want you to look at me. And I'm like, you do want me to look at you because I'm only helping you. There's no mirror while you're out running. I'm not running with you. I'm running. I can only see you when I can see you. So I tell you guys, I realize that's a really interesting learning curve. And then, but if you start to think about it as, oh gosh, if I went to the physical therapist, I would want them to look at me. If I went to the personal trainer, I would want to see my form. You
Right.
see what I mean? So you're right, Caroline. It's funny because people do get snitty with me. I don't care. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me a bit.
Yeah.
I'm really only there to help you get better for you. I promise.
Right. Well, and that being said, guys, when you think to yourself, well, I run with my coach or I run with my friends and they'll correct me. No, they're running too. They can't
Right.
see you run while you run.
Right.
It's really amazing
Correct.
that people will think, well, I run with Valerie, so she'll correct me. I used to have a running coach before I met Valerie, and people used to say that all the time, that I run with him and he's going to correct my form. And I'm like, well, first off, you're not paying him. So no, he's not. And this was a free group. But he's running. He's concentrating on his running and him not falling and making sure that the route is okay. So that's the other reason why when you come and work with us, you actually run perpendicular to the camera, right? You run back
Right.
and forth, and then she's able to focus solely on you
On
and your
you.
movement frame
Yeah.
by frame. It is amazing. Just like if I were doing a squat, just like if I were doing swimming in front of my coach, doing something for my golf swing, they're going to focus solely on you and what you're doing. And a lot of golf pros do videotape themselves. A lot of athletes videotape themselves. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to kind of come back to that idea that it is natural, right? You
Yeah.
can do it, but not to get so hung up in that I have to do an hour today. I have to do 3 miles today. I have to check a box. That box can still be checked by you doing your practice.
Right.
Thank you for joining us on the RunRx podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.